A little bit earlier in the week, we talked about Will Brinson's prediction from CBS Sports.com. Predicted the Browns to go 7-10. So key to that, he had them losing 2 games to both the Bengals and the Ravens, so being swept by both of them. And again, in the AFC North, as I said, I don't see anybody winning 13 games. 12 games is going to be tough because of the strength of that division. The Bengals and the Ravens, the Browns haven't been worse than 2-2 against them since the 0-16 year. In fact, they've been 3-1 against them in 2021. They were also 3-1 against them in 2018. Browns fans are getting after Will Brinson a little bit, and Brinson is responding. So he says Browns fans playing the just don't like Deshaun whine card are acting like they haven't been consistently terrible since 1999. And you should be magically awesome in 2023. Most hilarious and obnoxious fan base of the upcoming season. With that, let's welcome in G. Bush from 92.3 The Fan, as well as the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. G. Bush, we call him passionate here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But, again, 7-10, okay. I suppose it could happen. But if you're basing that on being swept by the Ravens and the Bengals, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, the problem with the 7-10 thing is, and sometimes I trust me. If you follow me on Twitter, I've named myself the Duke of Knee Jerk because I'm emotional and passionate just like every other fan. So when you talk about something about with the Browns, I'm like, nah, that ain't it. Or if you catch me after a game that we got smoked, I'm going to really be in my feelings at that point in time. But I guess when you look at it, the problem with the 7-10, your kind of thought process is this. It's just not the Deshaun Watson thing, because if you were just looking at the moves that they've made, you would see that they've not only bona fide and made the places on their team that were the weakness. They've made those. They've gone out and added Dalvin Tomlinson, who, if you hear people talk about what he brings to the table in terms of what his pass rushing ability, as well as his run stopping ability, you have to take a look at when you get a Zadarius Smith and you talk about those two guys being starters on your team. Obo is another guy that is going to play the other end. That's going to be an upgrade as far as your pass rush goes. Take a look at what they've done in terms of the draft and solidifying some of those positions. And you can't say it's just Deshaun Watson that you don't like Deshaun Watson. That's why you're putting him there. You got to look at some of the improvements and upgrades they made as far as wide receiver goes. Elijah Moore is another guy that we've seen. They needed some speed. They went and get Goodwin. So they've done some other things, not to mention still having one of the best, I would say the best running back in the league. You could say that they have one of the best or top 2 best pass rushers in the league. You could say that they arguably have a top 5 offensive line in the league when everything is moving and shaking. And not to mention bringing in a guy like Juan Thornhill, who's going to be an upgrade at your safety position. Not to mention that they brought in Jim Schwartz and Bubba Ventura. So not only have the Browns made hay at their worst positions, they've made improvements as far as the coaching staff as well. And when you look at Deshaun Watson and you say, hey, if Deshaun Watson plays even up to the level of his worst in Houston, and his worst in Houston, you have a team that you have to at least say is a 9-8 football team, considering what they did with Jacoby Brissett. Now so that's where we're looking at. Okay, we're kind of looking at your side eye, Will, because we're like, okay, we won how many games with Jacoby Brissett and none of these other new guys? You have to at least say that the Browns are a much improved team.
And, they were 7-10 last year. The schedule's easier because they finished in 4th place. So it just doesn't add up.